Hey y'all, I'm Todd Bailey.
What's up? It's Ari Lombardozzi.
And this is fucking Brewtal.
Get in the pit, stock up the fridge, and listen. We're here to cover the latest in metal news and craft beer. A match made in hell.
If it makes you bang your head, then we want to hear it. If it tickles your taste buds, share those suds.
Turn it up to 11.
Crack open that beer.
It's about to get brutal.
What's good there, Hopwolves? It's your boys, Todd and Ari, back with Brewtal. I'm going to stop actually doing the episode numbers now that we're over 100, because it seems like... Why? We've already reached the top right now here, dude.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that fact.
We're very proud of that fact.
Congrats, over 100.
Oh, thank you, friends.
Got to keep it a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. That's a good segue, actually. So thank you for the congratulatory segue for you guys. We have two special guests on for this episode that we're super fucking stoked for. As always, we have Drew Slavik from See You Next Tuesday. Cunt for everyone that loves to use the term appropriately.
Of course.
And then a new friend, we have Wreckless Life, who yeah, which is going to be really a nice tie-in for the conversation that we're going to be having here today. See You Next Tuesday has a new album coming out very fucking soon, and probably by the time the Hopwolves get to hear it, it will be out. So,
Okay.
Yeah, well, how are you guys before we start getting into everything? Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And I'm doing awesome. I'm not at work, so that's really cool.
Always a positive.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really glad to be here.
Yeah. And I'm always happy to see Wreckless's face because he's adorable.
You're such a cutie.
It's so focused with the blurred background. We get to see it.
I know. He almost looks angelic. Like you're
He
like
does
floating.
look angelic.
Is this a dream? Is this a fever dream? What's happening?
Lucifer was an angel, right?
Yeah.
Well, see, now we're starting on a high note here, everyone. Yeah, so we're gonna talk shop with you guys, and well, I think before we get into like the album as a whole, Distractions is the I should say Relapses is Distractions, but this is a remix of it, correct?
Sort of. Yeah. I mean, remix is the easiest way to just say it. There's a lot more there's many more elements to it. Because like I redid some songs. We had some electronic songs that were on the record that I made into like, more grindcore songs. And then we had like guest vocalists do, jump on those tunes instead of having Fox do them a second time around, basically. And then there's a couple songs that we just redid on our own, just because that's what we felt like doing. And then lastly, the final track on the record was actually part of a song that I never finished for Distractions, and Pedram and Chad from Frontier helped us finish it. So that was like a straight up new song, because Distractions was only 13 tracks, Relapses will be 14. So, and everybody should have listened to the Frontier track already. That one's been out for about a week now. The Gold Room. So,
Talk to me a little bit about what was the idea to take Distractions, which is like the first release in like 15 years before Intervals and the one prior. Yeah. What was the idea to take that and then scramble it?
I guess the first catalyst was the unfinished song. So the last song on Distractions was Strange Music, which was like a 7.5, almost 8-minute song. It originally was over 12 minutes. Where after like that arpeggiated guitar stuff where it kind of fades out now, it went into this kind of like orchestrally industrial thing. you know, I had like 4 minutes more of this song that was written, and then like the structure was there, and Fox and I were talking about what to do for lyrics and stuff like that to continue on the story. But ultimately we just kept listening to it, and it's like, this is so far left field, being this weird industrial thing, that we just decided last minute to cut it. Like, we're just like, this isn't the place for it. There's only 2 little electronic songs on the first side of the record. So that was the biggest thing, is I had this like music that I was kind of toying around with. And secondly, Fox and I, like, that's our common music style that we both enjoy. Is electronic music. Like, we're big into like bands like Youth Code and Author Punisher and Health and Nine Inch Nails, obviously Prodigy, you know, all the greats from yesteryears. But like, if him and I were going to get into a car and drive somewhere together, it'd be some sort of electronic music that we would put on. Because like, his flavor of metal is vastly different than my flavor of metal. And he doesn't even really listen to a lot of metal. Like, I still listen to quite a lot of metal. Well, mostly like grind. I'll be honest, I mostly listen to gore grind. I know it's noise.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm a mailman, and you know, I work outdoors, and for whatever reason, just listening to, you know, gurgling sounds and ping snares really fast for like 8 hours just does it for me. So yeah, I mean, that was the biggest catalyst, was just the fact that we wanted some way to kind of almost segue, I guess. Not to say that we're going to become this electronic band, but like, electronic music production has always been my passion too. Obviously, like, the whole record has little splashes, distractions. I mean, it has little splashes here and there of electronic music. Not even electronic music, but just some stuff, you know. And I bring like a synth with me live. You know, we do the samples and stuff live. So it's like, I'm just trying to be out of the box with our band, because why not? You know, I mean, a guitar and a bass and some drums are only going to get you so far. Like, there's only so much creativity you can do with adding, you know, effects pedals or whatever. And it's a whole other element that you can add to your writing that just literally has no end game. You know what I mean? Like, the world of electronic music, be it plugins or Eurorack or whatever, like, it's an endless supply of new sounds. So it's like, you know, part of it's like, we want to start incorporating more of it. Part of it is just, we're passionate about it. And lastly, it was just like, we really wanted to just really do something for each other, you know, for ourselves, I guess, you know, as musicians. Like, every artist that's part of this record we're big fans of.
That's awesome.
You know, like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just wearing a Chapong shirt to make Mr. Reckless smile. Like, you know, Chapong and Reckless and his remix of a Chapong song from like back in 2020 is just, it's epic shit, man. And I love it. I listen to that stuff all the time. So it's like, you know, everybody on that list are musicians that I love. So it's just like, why not? You know, I mean, ultimately, I was in Baltimore playing a show, and Curly Swope from Zombie Shark, you know that dude? Yeah, everybody knows that guy.
Yeah,
he's like he's an internet fan favorite. The dude just is the kindest guy ever. I was chit-chatting with him, and I was kind of explaining exactly what I was telling you about wanting to do more electronic and blah, 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 blah. And like, while I was standing in front of him, I had this like weird idea. I was like, man, it'd be so cool to do something like what Fear Factory did with Remanufacture.
Yes.
And he was just like, dude, if you do that, I need to remix I'll Never Smile Again, because that fucking song, man, I love it. I'm like, okay. So then, like, we fast forward a couple months, and I'm like, hey, so I'm doing this remix thing. Do you still want to do that track? And, you know, that was obviously the one he wanted. It just kind of started coming to fruition after that. It was just an idea that we ran with. And that's another thing, too, is just like the label that we're on, Good Fight, you know. Mm-hmm. It's a small independent label that is ran by 2 dudes that used to run one of the biggest labels in metal, you know, Ferret Records.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Good Fight is literally just Carl Severson and Rick Barnhart from Ferret.
Really?
Just neuter down to two dudes that in their spare time with the other stuff that they do in the music industry, they put out a few records a year. I mean, it's not like a big label and they're not throwing lots of money at me or anything like that, but they let me do really stupid stuff like, this remix album. Not that it's stupid, but you know what I mean? Like if you picture somebody, what's that?
The production level on all of that is, I'm a super fan of vinyl, and just this whole project, like I was just blown away when you started sending me some of these, pics. Yeah. I'm like, damn, because like just being on the thing to me was, beyond, and to see where it's come, it's like, man, they took it to another level.
I was going to say, from what we heard so far, all the singles that have dropped, just very nuanced. Like, I kind of think we talk a lot about North Lane a little bit because we love how nuanced their sound is. Like, there's intricacies there hidden underneath, and I feel like there's a lot going on in each of these songs, and they're not long. True to See You Next Tuesday, but there's so much going on within a short amount of time.
Right. Well, thank you.
I love that.
To kind of piggyback off what you guys were talking about with like the vinyl and just hearing the progression of the record and everything. So Drew, you said that you were a fan of Chapong beforehand. So did you know Wreckless Life at all before this whole process?
No. Okay. We did become best friends within about 14 minutes of talking to each other, though. So
I can see why.
I do believe him and I's partnership in music is not done either.
We met briefly back,
August. Yeah.
Wow.
No, years ago.
Yeah. Like 20 years ago.
Oh shit.
And I was there. We talked for like 2 minutes, but like I then saw you guys play again. Where was it? In Detroit, right? At the No Fun Fest, or what was that? That I Hate God was supposed to play and they canceled.
Yeah. Don't call it a fest.
Don't call it a fest. Yeah. I saw you guys there because, like, the funny thing to me is that I've known See You Next Tuesday since the 90s. And
90s, come on, 2004, stop it.
To fast forward to now and like, have that connection out of nowhere, it like blew me away. I was like, dude, that's so sick. Like, I can't believe you're asking me to like get involved. That's super dope.
And here I am being a big fan of all the shit he does.
So you guys are fans of each other, it sounds like.
Exactly. And honestly, it's kind of been that whole thing every go with every artist I've had, like I'm like, hey, I really like your music. And they're like, no way, you like my music? I'm like, wait, you know who we are? Wait.
So this album is really just a party album with friends.
It definitely became that for sure. Yeah. For sure. For example, like, Child of Night, the second track on the record, their edits. Child of Night is actually Jonathan Thompson from the Heartland, which I don't know if you remember the Heartland from back in the MySpace era. Our current drummer, Jimmy, was the drummer of the Heartland. And John and Jimmy have been like brothers in arms for us because they're just down in Ohio. We played countless shows with them back in the day. So when this whole thing came up, it was so funny because on that same tour that I talked to Curly, a couple days later, we stayed at Jonathan Thompson's house because he's living outside Pittsburgh now. And we were like just smoking weed in his basement, and he's got a bunch of Eurorack stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, Jimmy was telling me you're like in kind of like a dark synthwave like thing. Yeah, right. And he's like, yeah, for sure. So I actually told him kind of that I've been running with this idea for literally like 2 days. And of course, he was same thing, just like, dude, hit me up if you end up doing this. And he was, again, one of the first people I contacted. But yeah, I mean, from there, it was just, either somebody I knew. There's a couple of people on there that I know I've never met before in my life or talked to ever, like the John Connor brothers. They're from Denmark. They're in another band called LLNN. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Oh,
We
yeah,
do
yeah,
know
we know
them.
them.
Yeah, they're insane, right? It's one of Fox and I's favorite bands. And so those two brothers, Ketil and Rasmus, are the main dudes for LLNN as well. And John Connor is just their EDM version of stuff. But they do like these crazy shows, man. They just posted some videos. They did a full immersion sound concert where it was like
Really?
16 points of like Dolby Digital surround sound for a full immersion experience, and they did a full set. They're supposed to be coming up in spring. They're supposed to do our remix as an immersion set. So I'm going to try real hard to save up for a ticket to Denmark.
That would be sick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're really, really, really talented dudes. So, but yeah, that was one that was just like a shoot your shot, like Fox and I were chit chatting about different artists. And I was like, man, John Connor is so fucking good. How cool would that be? So I just randomly sent him a message. And weirdly enough, they're both like, oh, man. And he sent me a picture. Rasmus sent me a picture of his buddy wearing a fucking See You Next Tuesday hoodie.
What are the odds? That's awesome.
I know. So it's just like, man, small world. But that's what it is with me, like metal, though. I mean, like, especially weird metal. We're not talking about Lamb of God. Like weird. Like when it comes to dudes that like weird metal, there's only so many of us.
Yeah, but that's what's like. That's what I'm saying. The world is smaller than you think. When it comes to these circles,
exactly.
It pays attention.
Well, wow. Since we're talking Wreckless Life, what's it been like? I know you were excited about the process of doing the remix, but like, could you take us through like, how do you decide what you're doing with what? Because like you already have all the material essentially. It's just like how you spinning it.
Yeah, he was actually. I'll have him kind of delve into it, but his story was a little unique. I'll just tell this little cliff note. So when I originally started talking to people, like I gave them a song and I gave them all of we call them like the multi-tracks, so they have, the snare as its own channel and everything is on its own track. So they could do whatever they want with it. Okay. When I sent it to Wreckless, within probably like the next day, he was like, hey, what are the chances that I could have stuff from more songs?
Okay. It wasn't enough.
In my head, like, I'm weird and I have like these lists of people next to names and stuff. And in my heart, I'm like, that's not the rules.
You're cheating.
But like at the same time, like the whole thing about relapses was for me to learn to relinquish control. Like I didn't want to be. I like that.
That's nice.
I didn't want to influence any of these people except for by who I chose. Like I knew the record was going to sound the way it sounded because of the people that I curated to like do a remix, but I never stepped in and said like, do this, or I would like it if you really used this sample. I gave it to him and gave him full autonomy. So when he asked me that, I was like, reluctant, but then I looked at it and I was like, he's doing the song that's called This Is What God Looks Like to Me. And I was like, what better track to have samples from the entire record than the one he does? So I'll let you kind of tell the story.
Yeah, because like the original track, which I do like a lot, I'm not saying it sucks.
Okay.
But the thing that I found interesting is like, okay, how am I supposed to reinterpret this song that is very spacey? There's no real, percussion or like, like kind of like, hooks, like it's very droning, and I love drone stuff, but I'm like, if I'm doing Wreckless Life though, like I need the hailstorm,
It needs to be aggressive.
And it's not just aggressive. It needs to be just, fucking filthy, Oh, I need to throw a trash can around, And so, asked Drew, I'm like, hey, man, by any chance, would it be cool if I, extended a little more into other realms from other tracks and blah, blah, blah. And, fair point. He was kind of saying like, hey, those are other people's tracks, this, that, and the third. I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. So how about I actually send you timestamps of like every little edit that I want throughout the entire album. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, dead ass, dude. Yeah. Dude. I make my shit so much more fucking complicated for myself because I want it to be absolutely bananas. And fucking,
dude, you're creating a multiverse in a song.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, yeah. And doing it for See You Next Tuesday, I wanted to bring that A game, And I'm really.
You sure did too, man. It's one of my favorites on the record.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I love it.
I was
some would say it was reckless.
I did my job. But yeah, because like I know when he had mentioned he loved my Chopang work, I was like, okay, I know where I'm shooting for, and I really hope I'm getting there. And yeah, man, I'm really stoked. And like not only that, but like when I sat down with Drew to listen to the entire thing and hear him work too, I was like, yo, this is wild. This is a collection of some incredible music that spans so many different sonic territories and emotions, and it's wild, dude. And I love because like going back to the beginning of the conversation, right? Like you say, oh, this is the remix. I say it's the reinterpretation. This
is a better word.
Yeah, and that's why like on each of the song titles we use the word edits. Nobody's just remaking or remixing the song. Like some of these songs are literally just completely new from the ground up songs that just use splashes or something small from distractions. It really just sparked these other artists to create something new,
Yeah. Honestly, this is something that like I really hoped a lot of other bands are open to do, because I've always I know I've been involved in metal for a long time. I know a few people that obviously dip their toe in and stuff. And it's like, man, there's so many people that are linked together that can do this type of stuff for next level shit, and it's funny, man. Cause like every once in a while you'll see people doing it. Like my boy Wayne, who's half of a Pet Brick with Igor Cavalera.
God, that shit is so good.
So nasty, dude. So nasty. And like Wayne alone, his solo project is like one of my favorites. It's called Lady Scrape.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That dude is nasty. So nasty.
That Def Brick stuff that he does with the other dude is sick too. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And that's what I'm saying, like there's a lot. And like I remember I met him when he was here. Man, the conversation I had with this guy about like so much underground shit, like independent artists, that I'm like, you fucking know about like Aaron Spector, The Bug, and like, like whatever. Like he's like, fuck yeah, brother, so fucking cool,
Yeah.
And you see like those artists too getting involved with bands every once in a while,
Yeah, a big part of it for me too was just like the collective that music can become, I'll be honest with you. I'm turning 41 in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Like I was in my 20s and I toured and all that stuff. And it's, I'm a mailman. I got a wife, we got 3 dogs. I got a couple stepkids. We got a house up in northern Michigan. And weed's cheaper than literally everything up here. For us, like, we're not in the position to just drop everything and tour a whole bunch, And
you guys get out a good bit.
We try. Yeah, we got a big tour coming up this year. We did a few long weekends last year, 3-4 day weekends. Just tried to get out there.
Days with us and everything, and then you.
Yeah, we did 2 days with them, which actually worked out awesome. That they came by as a Friday and a Saturday, so that was fucking awesome. He was on tour with Chopang and Bandit, which we did a little tour with back in February too, and they share a drummer, which is insane to me because Gobi is an absolute fucking machine.
To do 2 bands that's in one night, that's crazy.
2 bands that aren't like, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Chipong, but like the drums are no fucking, they're no joke. I mean, it is either blasting or very tribal-esque avant-garde bashing. And both of those utilize a lot of strength. And then Bandit being just grindy thrash, you know what I mean? Like they just fucking go from, they push play and Gene is off. But yeah, watching Gobi do back to back, man, I was blown away. That dude can drum.
And this guy made me do an impromptu solo set.
Yeah, I got to see him do his track live. Yes,
really?
That was, I forgot all about that. Yeah, we played at the Sanctuary in Detroit, Michigan, and there was like a mix up on the flyer. Like the flyer said that the doors weren't till 8 because there's only 3 bands. It was Bandit, Chipong, and us.
Okay.
And doors were supposed to be at 8 o'clock, but when we get there, there's like flyers and the tickets say 7 o'clock.
Oh, fun.
So we're like, fuck, that's long. So then we're like putting it off the best we can. And then eventually the sound guy was just like, have Bandit play. And we're like, fuck it, whatever. Bandit starts. They play like 16 minutes, you know, because they're grindcore. And then they're done. And it's like, you know, it's 8:14.
Yeah, you're just like, okay.
And can we get Bandit to do another set?
Encore, the whole thing.
So I was like, Reckless, do your thing, but you're playing our song. And he was like, shit, it's on my other laptop. And I was like, you didn't leave it in New York. But he's like, no, it's in the trailer. I just got to get it. Like had a little mini heart attack. No, it was fucking awesome though.
Because I wasn't, you know, I didn't expect that to happen. And thankfully I brought 2 computers, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, it seemed to go over well because like there's also the fact that I don't know how some people are going to receive this shit, you know.
Right.
It's always a gamble.
I mean, following up Bandit.
Right.
It was awesome though. I mean, it was a weird show. So what was it? Not Summer Slaughter. One of those other big wrestling things was in Detroit the same night. And I didn't find that out because I'm not a wrestling guy. I didn't find that out till like 2 days before. And I was like, well, we got like 70 pre-sales. So like those 70 people showed up.
That was good.
You know, which is a great show for a grindcore band. But so I mean, there's like decent amount of people there, and everybody that was there clearly was there to have a really great time as well. Because there's 70,000 people literally just up the road watching wrestling, you know. And but yeah, I think it was really, really well received because everybody was up front, like fucking chanting this dude. And I mean,
I love that.
He's got a crazy show too. I mean, he's got like the table thing. He's fucking you knocked over at least 3 beers in your set. I just kept seeing people give you a beer. You'd open it, he'd take a big swig, set it down, and then knock it over.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's reckless.
Gotta go full retard. Can I say that? Gotta go full retard.
You gotta pour one out for the homies too. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that was super fun. You know, again, like it's always interesting to see when I can, you know, open doors for people's minds just a little bit. Cause like there were some people that like after that were like, dude, what the fuck was that? You know, like that was insane. And I'm like, yeah dude, like this is what I do, you know, alone, but I play with these guys too, you know, like.
Man, so the other day I was talking to the dudes from Meth. We just did like a little weekend thing.
They just released their album.
Those shows,
Shame,
so sick, dude.
Yeah, it is sick.
Did you guys see that footage of their circle pit from Chicago?
Oh yeah,
that shit was awesome. The fucking coolest. What
venue is that? That place looked fucking huge.
Yeah, it was the Talia Hall. Yeah, dude, capacity there's like 800. But they erected a stage in the middle of the floor.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was fucking awesome.
You combine that with that spatial audio you talked about, that would be cool.
That would have been sick.
Oh my god, dude!
I
Yeah,
think you
oh my
would come
God.
out totally different.
Bring
Like,
Bring
you're
the
not same
Denmark boys
person.
over.
You'll be tripping leaving.
Oh my god, dude!
I don't even know where the exit is. This is great.
Yeah.
I am the exit.
It's just one circle pit around the stage. I
Dude,
think
that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Dude,
There's
yes.
a video. A bunch of people storied it from different angles. So like I saved all those story videos and just made like a compilation of it.
That one, yeah.
And
Fuck
for
yeah.
anybody that's watching this, go to our Instagram and check it out. The video is fucking awesome. Like it was surreal. I'm just standing there and I was like to Fox, it's like, dude, just did this, and he was like, this place is pretty perfect for a circle pit. And like the people in front of us were all filming and they put their phones away and you see them all start running, and we didn't even start a song yet.
They understood the assignment. I love it.
They understood the assignment. Like A+ to everybody that attended. It was awesome. No, but anyway, so back to where I was talking about. We're chit-chatting, and one of them, I can't remember who it was, but they mentioned that somehow we should try to make a Relapse Fest happen.
Hey,
Ooh, that
never
would be
say
sick.
never.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, that would be so sick. But I was just literally thinking about like when I saw you play live, Wreckless, at Sanctuary. I was just like, man, he brought so much energy. And then I was like, man, we haven't been back to St. Vitus in a while. Like Zombie Shark's from that area, Wreckless is from that area.
Hell yeah.
Thought Crime's from Chicago, but they can piggyback with us. But it'll be John Connors and Death Tripper. Those will be the tough ones because Death Tripper's all the way over. Ian's all the way over in fucking New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, dude, let's get weird.
He's gonna have to go on
It's a
holiday for
tiny
the
hall.
tour.
Yeah, he was over here on tour though. He did like 10 days over here with that Blind Equation band.
Oh, really?
Right around the
Nice.
release of their record. So,
Nice.
but I mean, like, imagine being a
So it's
cyber grinder.
possible.
Yeah. Well, do you know the Nick from Big Money Cyber Grind? Do you know that dude?
That
Anyway,
sounds
he's just-
familiar. I've seen the name.
He does like, yeah, he does compilations and like he puts them out on cassette, and they're all cyber grind stuff. So anybody that programs any kind of weird cyber grind stuff and you want to get your stuff released, hit up Big Money Cyber Grind. That's how I found out about Zombie Shark, Thought Crime, and Death
wow.
Tripper. All three of
Nice.
those were from Big Money Cyber Grind. So anyway, he's a
Oh,
drummer.
word.
And he played drums for Ian when he came over here to do Death Tripper. I didn't end up getting to see any of it because they didn't come anywhere near Michigan, but besides Chicago, but that's 6 hours for me, unfortunately. I live in like northern Michigan, so it's almost 3 hours just for me to get to the border.
Oh wow.
You're in the heart of it then.
Oh yeah. I live in a tiny house on an acre and a half of land, so you don't get that in the city.
You do not know.
No. Hell yeah. So it's safe to say that like the shows ever since that you guys like dropped the new record, you're gonna be dropping a new record, like coming back after such a long time, like it's been going well for you, at least at that Chicago show. Like,
Oh yeah, that was
pretty
incredible.
fucking cool.
Yeah, overall we've been really, really like extraordinarily well received. I didn't expect that. That's for sure. You know, because like, you know, we're this band that was like this wacky stuff, and then we like seemingly grew up in a year because, you know, we put out a record on Ferret that was material that we had been playing for like 3 years. And by the time Parasite even came out, I was already writing stuff for Intervals, and I was already like on the new stuff. You know, like when I was writing Parasite, it's clear that I was listening to a lot of Dillinger and Number 12 and, you know, like Psyopus, and everything that we came up with was the
Good
stuff that I
mention.
was submersing myself in. And then I found Rotten Sound. And they were like my gateway into grindcore, and that was probably like 2007, because it was right around the release of Parasite, and I started getting into them. And then 2008, Cycles came out from them, and it was like Jane Doe, like life changing. It was like another fork in the road, you know, like this. You're gonna like this now. And then I just started spiraling out of control, just getting into everything grindcore. So by the time I was writing and putting intervals out, it was dark and blasty and didn't have breakdowns, and that wasn't really well received back then. So when we put this third record out, which again is like an amalgamation of maybe the two, but also totally different. And
I think that's fair to say.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was terrifying putting it out, but at the same time, it meant a lot to me, and like everything that I had in me to like get through life is in that record. And I think that speaks in the music. So even if it's total trash, the people that like that type of stuff can at least hear that in the music. I feel, I don't know, I'm weird though. So I hear that in music, you know. I don't hear that in words as much as other people do, because like words to a song can just be written at a different time, not necessarily for even that music, but like the music is composed, and like there's a reason that I chose this note because it's more sad, or this note because it's more angry. And I think every chord that I used in Distractions gives you a feeling of unease. and
a good unease.
Yeah, well, thank you. So, you know, despite like my shock of being so well received as we are, so thank you for everyone listening.
Us included.
You know, it's thank you. It was awesome, I guess. I just that's all I was kind of getting to. And then again with Relapse, it's just like, you know, I mentioned earlier that we're not going to be this band that we can't tour 6 months out of the year. You know, like we want to get out west, and it's like there's mountains, and it's just it's going to happen eventually, but in small spurts, you know. And what better way to do that than branch ourselves out and start working with this like network of bands. Again, with Relapses, I listened to this record because again, I only had something to do with 4 songs. The 2 first singles, obviously, I wrote those. They were like reimaginings of the little cybergrind tracks from Distractions, and then the remix of the first and last tracks. I redid those. But other than that. So that's only 4 out of 14 tracks. There's 10 tracks on there that I had nothing to do with.
Wow.
But when this comes out, it's got our name on it. You know what I mean? So it's like people will listen to this, and if they hate it, it's our fault. But at the same time,
especially that Wreckless Life one, man.
I know that one's going to be tough. No, my wife asked me just the other day, she was like, what are you going to do if like no one really digs this stuff? Or what are you going to do if you get negative feedback? And my answer honestly was defensive. Like, you can't get defensive about negative feedback on your own music, because it is what it is. It's subjective. Yes, you know, I produced this music, and if you don't like it, that is what it is. I created this for myself. And if people like it, that's really cool. But when it comes to this, like, I picked these artists to work with us. And if people hate on that, it's going to be really hard for me not to get defensive and be like, are you kidding me? Like, that Wreckless Life track is fucking bonkers. You know? You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm curious though. I'm very curious to hear once people get this in their hands and listen to it. Did you guys get a chance to listen to it all the way through? I know Alexis sent you the tracks like a couple hours ago.
I actually selfishly did not, because I want to wait for when it actually drops. I want to experience it on the day it drops.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, right, I did not get to it yet, but it is on the to-do list.
You guys are in for a treat.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said before, I didn't know a lot of these guys. I hope you guys can hear me pretty well.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
I didn't know a lot of the other acts, you know, that were involved. I knew a few, but whatever they contributed is definitely not where I was thinking any of this was going. And I was like, this is incredible. You know, I am seriously impressed. And it all fits together so well. Like it's amazing. It's a journey. I hate to say, like a little cliche.
It's our favorite word.
Yeah.
Well, I love how like each song is its own little microcosm, but it's all part of the whole. Like, that's
why we
favorite.
went with the song. That's why we went with the album title, because I wanted to have some sort of play on distractions. Because distractions was literally my distraction. Just to touch base on that super quick. I'm an alcoholic, and it got out of hand during COVID. I thought I had something under control that I didn't. And writing this record was my pathway to sobriety. And I've been over 3 years without a drink since
that's what's up.
Just starting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just starting that record. So distractions, like that song, that album title means so much to me, because it literally was like, okay, I had a shitty day that I just worked 12 hours because it's COVID and I'm a mailman and no one's working and everyone's sitting at home with free money and ordering whatever the fuck they want. And I had to deliver that for 12 hours today. I want to go to the store next door and buy a fifth of gin. And instead I'd come in my studio and I'd sit down and play on my computer and do what I'm doing right now and just write music. So anyway, Relapses was the album title had to mean something to it. It meant something to me as well, because obviously what a relapse is, a relapse is a step backwards, or a temporarily absence.
The glitch
from the glitch in the matrix. Exactly. But you said it exactly. Like each song is its own thing.
Yeah, its own like entity.
So that's why we pluralized it. And I know that's weird. A lot of people say that I tell the title to. I've had some like relapses. Yeah, like it's weird, right. But it's plural because every one of those tracks is their own relapse.
Hell yeah.
In a way, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah, yeah.
That's the thing though. Is when I was in Detroit with him, he was sitting in his car with me, Wreckless, that is, sitting in my car, and we listened to the record together. Just full blast, just in the streets in Detroit, smoking pot.
That's my listening experience.
Yeah, just experiencing
that's Wreckless's influence.
Yeah,
exactly. And when we got done with it, his first takeaway was how well it all made, like how well it sounded next to each other. Yeah. Like all of these different tracks made by different people.
Who have no idea what each other are doing, obviously,
Yeah, no one knows what they're doing with each other. The dude that mastered it with us, Jeff McKinnon of Controlled Sound, which you're a Pennsylvania guy. Do you know him? He's from southern area somewhere, Harrisburg or something like that.
I actually didn't know he was from PA.
No,
all I know is what you told me when he kept saying that my shit's too loud.
That is an awesome story. I'll tell that in a second.
That's great.
But yeah, he's awesome. He does like varials is one thing he's pretty notable for. Nice. And he did the Zombie Shark stuff. He was actually recommended to me by Curly because I wanted somebody that has some experience with electronics and metal.
Right.
And varials is very much both of those two things. Especially their newer stuff and that he's been a part of with. He's mixed and mastered and recorded all of their stuff. So, I mean, he's very familiar with that electronic vibe mixed with electronic or electric guitars. And dude, he was so perfect for this job. Like he listened to it and was like, so it's all over the place. And he's like,
you noticed.
Yeah. And, he's like, I feel like the number one thing that we should focus on is not necessarily making this record as loud as possible, but making everything the same. And I was like,
yes,
you're hired. If I could tip you, if I could afford to tip you, I would.
You're just like, this guy gets it. He gets it.
And he was pitching it to me, like worrying that I would be like, it's got to be loud, because you know how metal guys are.
Yeah.
Every record's got to be fucking so far up against the ceiling threshold.
We're gonna be clipping a little bit.
Well, exactly. But yeah, he was very much like, good. I just wanted to make sure. So we just picked the loudest track, which was surprisingly not Wreckless's track. Zombie Sharks was the loudest. But his was the loudest.
That's
that had the most dynamic. Yeah, his was the loudest that still retained dynamics.
There's a little asterisk. There's a little asterisk like that.
It took a lot of coaching. Because like, I'm always like, you're gonna hand this to someone to master, right? Like, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with my shit, because dude, it's supposed to be that loud. That's why I like it like that, you know. But whatever,
explosion in your ear.
Yeah, he sends it to me, and I don't know if you guys have ever listened to something that's unmastered versus mastered. Unmastered stuff has to have just like a raw tracks, I guess. Like just everything kind of sounds very separated. You know, guitars
is a
sound
demo
a
comparison.
Sometimes,
demo?
yeah,
Okay.
generally.
Okay.
So anyway, unmastered, a well unmastered record, everything is meant to sound very separated, and you're supposed to have a lot of dynamic range. And dynamic range means that the stuff that's constantly happening in like a waveform is within a threshold. And then the hard hitting stuff, like the heavy parts of a song, or when a snare hits really hard or a bass drop hits really hard, when that stuff hits, that's the stuff that hits the top. And that's it. You see these huge spikes and changes. That's called dynamic range. So when a mastering engineer gets a hold of that, he can pick and choose and be like, okay, I'm going to focus on bringing the cymbals down because I can bring the low end up, like stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Wreckless Life sends me his track, and it is fucking loud. Like I put it on and I had to like pull my headphones off quick. I was like, holy shit.
I told him, I'm like,
how dare you?
I told him, I warned him, I'm like, dude, out the gate, you're gonna hit play. Make sure
It's
you're
gonna be loud.
volume, you know, like don't put
And that's
it
the thing. Unmastered versus mastered, the volume difference, like it's crazy. Like it's at least 3-4 decibels blasting in your ear.
That's why anyone who like, you know, listens to my music, I gotta tell them ahead. I'm like, don't. And it might land like really hard right away. It's coming in hot.
Maybe put the headphones away from you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely no headphones. Definitely no
Yeah.
ears. You know, like and you know, give yourself maybe like 10 feet from speaking. Put the pets away. You know,
Right.
Bring in the bomb unit.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, said to him, I was like, dude, we need this unmastered because we're getting it mastered. We want someone else to be able to match this to the rest of the record. Because in my head from the get-go, I knew that the mastering engineer had to make it sound level. So by Jeff guessing that off the top, it's just impeccable.
Yep.
But yeah, so I sent it back to Wreckless and was like, dude, I can't, we need it to be unmastered. Can you just pull everything off your mastering chain? And he replies, there's nothing on my master chain.
Oh my God,
Okay, so then and then I'm like, okay, so then what's keeping everything from just blasting through zero and redlining? No, they all are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually
everything is.
It's just
What
a
do you mean?
picture, like a red picture that he sends you.
I'm like, yo, it's not fully read the whole track, okay? Like it bounces, you know, it bounces. You guys can work with that, right? That's
Intervals.
why master,
Intervals.
right? He's the master, not me. I'm the guy. Just
I mean, a little peaks and stuff here, fine. You know, throw a limiter on that track, maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. Get crazy with it. So anyway, I had to like coach him. I was like, dude, just turn everything down. Like, just start with like 1 decibel across the board, 2 decibels across the board, turn the limiter off and send it back to me. And he sends it back, and it was like night and day difference.
Did he send it back begrudgingly? Is he like, really? Are we gonna?
No, like it's funny because, like, you know, again, I don't give a shit. You know, like I'm not really getting mastered. I'm putting them out myself and just fucking running with shit, even live. Like, fuck it, whatever, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Because the front of house has compressors.
If I have signal, it's fucking getting abused. All right. Like, that's it. And, you know, it did make me, you know, kind of like focus a little more about, you know, audio engineering and kind of stuff like that, mixing, whatever. And as I was doing it, it actually made me like get more ideas about what I wanted to do in the track that I hadn't done yet, you know?
Right. Yeah. Because when you start bringing stuff down, even if you're bringing it all down together, certain frequencies carry more weight in a recording. So by bringing everything down, sometimes the high end gets buried more by the low end. So then, I remember you telling me that because you were like, yeah, I'm going to just change a few things.
Yeah. Cause like that was like the one thing I had a little bit of regret of. I wish I had spent more time on it, but I didn't have because like my process of getting all the samples I wanted and then, you know, honing it all down, fucking editing everything. It you know, it was taking me a lot longer than I expected, but that's always my cross to bear, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
That was
the cross on his chest right now.
That's right. Yeah.
It sucks that neither of you dudes have heard Wreckless's track because it's when you get to it.
I want the surprise. I want the drop surprise.
As soon as this is done, I want to. Todd always has a better experience. I was like, I just want to hear it. I just want to hear it as soon as I can.
I will let you do that, Ari. Then you can just text me a very vague message on how you liked it, and then I'll be even more hyped.
Fragile things away, no glass around you in the media area.
I'll be like on the top floor, and the phone will be like right down below me on like the second floor at the bottom of the stairs. I think it should be good then.
Listening to his track, the first thing that I thought of, well, besides the fact that it was insanely loud, was, man, how does, like, there's got to be a lot of work. It's so many little tiny clips of samples from all over distractions, all coming at you like a cacophony of just noise. It's
a swarm.
It is a beat down for sure.
So you're saying like I should probably wait till like first thing in the morning then to get that jump
started?
Like,
set that as your alarm.
Your day started right. Yeah.
Just a little bit of smelling salt to go along.
It definitely feels like a grindcore track, which is so impressive that he took a skit and turned it into that.
And it's a great skit. I love it. It's so good.
The actors I got for that were so good. They're so good. That the southern sounding guy was a coworker of mine. He grew up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and he's a supervisor at the post office, and he's also a yes man. Like literally, this is how the conversation went down. I was like, hey, so I have this album that I'm writing. He's like, I knew I liked you, Drew. And he's like, and I'm like, so I have like this little skit thing, and a buddy of mine's coming over, and it's like a 2-part thing. And he's like, you don't tell me no more. Just give me an address. I can do it tonight.
My man.
All right, let's do it.
I'm like, let's do it, Jared. He fucking killed it, man.
And this
is
like
that break that he's been waiting for.
Exactly.
This is like something I loved hearing about, like, because there's so many like little things about what Drew does that I wasn't aware, you know, like I didn't know who was doing electronic programming on the stuff. Like I just knew the band and the material, like, and when he started to really talk to me about like, you know, what he does and what he's involved in himself, I was like, dude, we need to do more work together for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Relapse Fest, man. We need to start sorting this out. It's got to happen in New York.
Fuck yeah.
Wait, it was the Meadows, right? That's the bigger one.
The Meadows. Well, there's Monarch, which is the biggest.
Monarch. Yeah. We could do this. Man, could you imagine getting John Connor over here, dude? That would be fucking insane.
We're putting it out in the universe right now. It's going to happen.
And Frontier, that's going to be another tough one. Man, that would be insane. Could you imagine that? I mean, think about that.
Have them get together, and then they'll fly out together.
That's what I'm saying, man.
You'd have to have release forms for that shit, because again, like there's no way you're coming out the same fucking person.
Oh my god, it'd probably have to be a little later on. I know not Pedram, but the other guitar player we didn't end up working with. I only worked with Chad and Pedram on the collab, but the other guitar player just had a baby or is having a baby soon. So I know that I believe that they're, I don't know if this is privy information or not, but
he got life stuff going on. He got life stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't think they're hitting the road very much, but man, it would be so cool. I'm just going to keep talking about this from now on. I'm glad that somebody brought this up and then I remembered about it. I was probably high at the time. So thanks for talking to me about music while I'm high again. So like those brainwaves reconnected.
I feel like we found the maze, the end of the maze.
If we will this, there is a way.
I mean, that's how Relapses came to fruition, right? Like it was just kind of like a joke idea, and then it's a whole ass release happening.
I know.
Which I know. Again, by the time that this is out, the record will be out. So congratulations on that drop. Like that.
You.
And just really like the whole journey there. Like, you know, we love hearing the BTS and all the stories and stuff like that, because like how you guys were, it's, you know, as fans, like Todd and I were talking about this before the interview. You know, we've been listening since Parasites, and you know, it's been really cool to see that, like, when you guys came back, like it was like it's the same, but like you said, you kind of like mature between Parasites and Intervals. Like this is like a huge jump, and like you still have the integrity of See You Next Tuesday, but you have that progression, like what we've been talking about, you know, the whole episode here. And that's
light years difference, and it's sick. It's man, that album is, I think, probably one of the better albums, if I'm being, you know, blunt. Because like,
which one? Distractions?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Because like I love old school. I do love old school See You Next Tuesday, but this encompassed a lot more territory that you know isn't represented earlier on, you know?
Right.
And like to see that get mixed in, like, dude, that was like, I was like, whoa, what? What?
I honestly felt like it was more personal, and it matches what you were talking about.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what I mean. Like, and you know, I'm not going to delve into it much, but Fox was also going through some shit at the same time. You know, he was an owner of a tattoo shop, and COVID wasn't friendly. You know, COVID wasn't friendly to those types of employees. Same with his words too. Like every song, well, minus 2 songs, because I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but 2 songs in the record have to do with making love.
Okay. So we got some love songs.
Yeah, go read the lyrics to Why Can't You Behave and Strange Music. Both those songs are not Fox's typical despair.
We've got some homework then.
Yeah,
I guess we just kind of wanted to, you know, we'll wrap it up here. This has been fucking amazing. And you know, we could talk for a long time. You guys are fucking fantastic. So thank you for
joy.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
me. These little quickies are neat.
I have to pick some of those up.
Sponsored by
Sponsored by Live Resin, Fresh Coast Splash.
I wish I could get a weed.
I would love a weed sponsorship.
There we go.
So if any Michigan weed companies are listening,
Backwoods.
Let's fucking go.
I'm looking at Backwoods.
Here's the thing. Yeah. I feel like you could do a play on words with your song titles. I feel like they would fit.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, for strains? Hell yes.
I think we're on to there's a lot of business ventures that are happening on this episode. Like we need to have the Relapses Festival. See You Next Tuesday is going to be sponsored by weed.
I'm just a little stoked on this right now, but
this is really a business call. We're whiteboarding it right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, like, look at the back of that record. For everybody that gets to this episode, when you get to this point, I want you to like go look at the track list of all the people, all the musicians that are on there, and then picture that on a flyer as a one-day fest, and tell me that wouldn't fucking rule.
Fuck yeah.
And the stage is going to be in the center.
Oh my God.
We're going to have the spatial audio.
Yeah.
from the guy in Denmark or wherever.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get the
Relapses.
whiteboard out. Okay, so we said center stage.
Circle. It's the
Okay. Circle in the center. Okay. It's going to be in New York City because it's fucking awesome over there.
Yeah, it's fucking
Over
awesome.
here.
you know what's kind of round is Madison Square Garden. Just hear me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live at the Garden. See you next Tuesday.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Frontier. See you next Tuesday. Reckless Life. Thought Crimes.
It's really an
John
international
Connor.
festival.
MSG.
It is an international festival.
It would be international.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be so sick.
On that note, guys, let us know how we can stay up to date with See You Next Tuesday, with Wreckless Life, and then any final plugins before we wrap up this fucking amazing conversation.
Yeah. You can find us on all social medias. Instagram and TikTok are both at the letter C, U, and then Next Tuesday Grind, all spelled out. Those are the platforms that we are the most active on. And I will say this too, as far as finding more about this guy, he's right here on my screen.
I never know how the windows work.
But,
Yeah.
but Wreckless Life here. I'm not going to say too much, but there is a little 3-way project that is underway.
It's tantalizing.
Yeah, it's still confidential. Still confidential.
So we're not going to go any further past that. But
when you get to that level of the marriage,
yeah, yeah. As I said earlier, like this whole like feeling of collective and like giving up control and working with people, because like that's one thing about if you ever talk to musicians that do really, really intense stuff like Chris Arp, Psyopus, and admittedly myself, we're stubborn motherfuckers because we write this shit in our heads because we're crazy, and then we try to teach other people how to play it, and then you have feedback and we don't want to hear it. But
it's like read these hieroglyphics, like
right? Yeah, you speak Latin, right? This whole thing of like giving up control for me is, I feel, a way to tap into a new part of music that would never be created. And some of the ideas that myself and Shatice from Chopin have kind of bounced back and forth. Like I said, it's very, very super secret. But it's one of those things where, again, it's going to be like, this would never exist if it wasn't for this stupid idea coming to fruition. Exactly like Relapses. You know what I mean? Like these songs that everybody are going to get to hear next Friday, or have heard since this has already came out. Like, and I'm not trying to like toot my horn or anything. Like that's not what I'm saying here. But like, these musicians wouldn't have made these songs if it wasn't for my stupid idea. And I think ultimately it all boils down to, yeah, like it's fucking cool, man. I can't thank all these artists enough that did this. You know, so
I think we should put a roll credits with everyone involved. I think that'll be nice.
you definitely do. You definitely do, yeah, for sure. Hell yes, because everybody is talented. I have a playlist on our Spotify too that has all the re-edit artists and some songs of theirs available.
Oh, nice.
Does it have a certain name, or just go to your guys' page to find it?
If you go to our Spotify and scroll down to the playlists, there's one called Re-edit Artists.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a track on there, and it's like, a nice little collection.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, Wreckless Life.
Just real quick,
where can we find you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mostly on Insta. If you want to look it up, it's Wreckless Life, but it's also like, wreck like less life, like with a WRECKLESS Life. Yeah. You can find everything about me and everything I'm involved with, with Chopin, my other band, Vixen Mom, my other band, Hexfire.
Hexfire's fucking super sick. If you guys haven't heard that.
Okay. We haven't. So
we have not.
Yeah, it's
very cool shit.
Sweet, dude. Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, it's old school pissed music for sure.
We are actually in the process of recording, so hopefully we'll have new material for Expire. And Vixen Maw is currently underway, almost completing an LP, which is going to have some pretty noteworthy additions that I'm pretty excited about. Hopefully we can get that wrapped up soon. But yeah, if you look up my Insta, you'll find all my band camps and all that kind of stuff and everything I'm doing with Drew and the boys. And lots of new stuff in the works. And I'm really looking forward to where everything is going to be going and the places that I don't even know myself, honestly. It's
all part of the journey.
It's
every like couple months, him and I'll be chatting, and somehow it comes up that we put out into the universe that we're going to tour in Japan together. So we're just going to put that out one last time as our final hurrah for tonight. Thanks for having us, guys. Japan.
Hell yeah.
Japong, and see you next Tuesday, 2024. Fall's fine.
Hell yeah.
You heard it here.
Make it happen, universe. Let's go. Thank you so much again, boys.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Later, Drew. Love you.
Guys, love you, buddy. Thank you.
Guys, salute to y'all and the new album that's coming out, Relapses. Check it out.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Any idea what it's like to have demons? What are you talking about? Like demons? Fuck demons? Demons that fuck you demons? I'm done dating demons. Do you know why? Because they're just too damn possessive. You know what I mean? No. Not this again. You got this all wrong. I won't do this again. Why would you think I would ever have?